The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us now go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as had been told them. After 8 days had passed, it was time to circumcise the child, and he was called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all of our hearts be pleasing to you, O Lord, our strength and the one who does redeem us. Amen. Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year.
We have a smaller crowd this morning for obvious reasons. And Barbara and I, or at least Barbara, tried to make people sit up closer to a smaller crowd. That never works. People gravitate to where they normally sit. I'm often reminded of that when this urge for me is to bring you closer. I remember a conversation with an unnamed person here a couple of years ago. I made the comment about, all you folks like to sit where you always do. And she looked at me and said, "You sit in the same seat every Sunday." I've given that up now. It's good to have you all here this morning. So I have a question for you. In this new year, some of you have made resolutions. Thank you. When I walked in, I told Barbara, this is going to be an unusual service. And I think it is. This is an unusual day, right? Particularly when New Year's falls on a Sunday, makes it even more unusual. Some of you may have begun making resolutions. Some people I know try to make a resolution to be a little more honest. So I have a question for you. When is the last time you read the book of Numbers? I asked this question last night in our service, and a very truthful woman said, "I have never read the book of Numbers." And I told her, "Thank you for your honesty." Honestly, the last time I read the book of Numbers was in seminary. And it's because I had to. Book of Numbers is not something we freely read. The lectionary committee, the people in the Episcopal Church who fashion our lectionary, our readings every week, they must not read the book of Numbers very much, because this is the only time you will hear a quote from the book of Numbers. We won't hear it next Sunday, the Sunday after. You won't hear it in 2017, 2018, or 2019. So this may be the last time you hear something from the book of Numbers. We don't really hear from it that much. But this is perhaps the most well-known of anything from the book of Numbers. If you never knew that this came from the Bible, you have heard this blessing in this quote, I believe, somewhere along the way. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance, his face to look at you and to give you peace. Most of us have heard that. And it comes from the Bible. The interesting thing is, if you read all of Numbers, and I encourage you to do it, I read all of Numbers in preparation for this sermon. It's a very odd book because before this most well-beloved blessing, you hear a lot of odd things, particularly if you desire to become a Nazirite, if you desire to be the one to look after the altar. So heads up for all the altar guild. You had a lot of instructions about how to care for the altar. Now you would know, reading the book of Numbers, this was not written to a group of Episcopalians, because to look after the altar of God is a male's job. And thank God for all the women who tend to the altar. By the way, we could use more men for the altar guild. But you hear all these weird things. To be a Nazirite, you had to shave all of your body, save for your facial hair and your hair. Those were the only two things that could never be touched on your body. To be a Nazirite was also meant that you could never attend the funeral of even your father or mother, because those who died were considered unclean, and so you could never attend the funeral of even a relative. And the more difficult thing to be a Nazirite, particularly last night, Nazirites could never drink wine or vinegar or anything strong. That would have been a tough chore for many people last night. So here before this beloved blessing, we have all of these instructions about the altar. And then after this blessing, we get incredible details about how every tribe in Israel is to divide their land, where are they to live, and how many cubits of land are they each going to get. It's incredible detail. If you ever have trouble falling asleep at night, I highly commend the book of Numbers. And so it's this odd, it's weird to read the book of Numbers. It seems disjointed by what we hear this morning, this beautiful blessing. I wonder if that maybe is where many of us are this weekend. This weekend and the past week are that favorite time of year that our culture tells us we're supposed to make lists. The sports world does this quite a bit. The top 10 things that happened in 2016. The top 10 plays, the top 10 players. And I think we do that with our life, don't we? We look back on 2016. We began making a running mental list of all the good things that happened, what we're grateful for. And for some of us, we look back on 2016 and think about very painful moments. Maybe someone who's died, maybe a job we lost, maybe a separation or a tough time in our marriage. We think back and we make that list about 2016. And then we're told we've got to make resolutions for 2017. And so we find ourselves in this very odd place this weekend, this day. Looking back, recalling yesterday, and yet trying to prepare for tomorrow. This before and after. It can be a weird place for some people. So even for us, on this very day, on this morning, that's unique, because we are uniquely positioned before and what comes next. So maybe in that strange land that not yet known, maybe in that strange land, these are some of the best words to hear. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So wherever you are between 2016 and 2017, this morning at St. Andrews, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord be gracious to you. And may the Lord show his face to you. And may the Lord give you peace. Happy New Year.